Okay, so let's just give a quick update on the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry wedding that's going to be happening on Saturday.
2 a.m. coverage will start our time.
Yes,
Crazy.
right here on ABC 10, so don't forget to tune in.
Will you be watching?
It's going to be on all
I'm going to be
long.
sleeping.
I'm going to be watching.
Okay.
So Meghan Markle's father had a heart attack, and so he is no longer going to be participating in the wedding, and he's not going to be walking her down the aisle. So that's just the whole story. But the actual topic we are going to be talking about is, do women like the idea of walking themselves down the aisle by themselves, not with their parents or not with their dad or not with their mom? So what do you guys think about that?
Oh boy.
I think it's depending on your relationship with your father.
Yes.
I think there is, studies suggest that there is a growing trend of women who are walking down the aisles themselves. And I don't know what the trend behind that. A lot of those relationships to me feel like, you know, my dad passed when I was in high school. Had my dad made it to see me walk down, please believe, really would have been walking Kirsten down the aisle. But, you know, now it's like I'm going to have to walk myself because he's not there. It's just a personal thing. But you do whatever you want to do on your wedding day, boo.
If there's one theme about a wedding, it's that the bride and groom get to choose how it goes down.
Yeah.
Every year, more and more traditions are put aside or reimagined. So I imagine this is just another one of those. And every family's different. Some people are close with their dad. Some people, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
And some people are, you know, there's stepfathers were there more than their biological father, so it's more important for them.
Or both dads.
Right.
In some
Sometimes
cases.
there's both dads because there's some drama that's going to go down, and you don't really want it to go down. I mean,
Sounds like my family with the drama.
my
Wait till you plan a wedding.
my wife is a photographer, and I help to shoot some of these weddings sometimes. So we always try to get the backstory. Okay, so just tell us a little bit about your family history, so we know. You know, when you're doing family photos, like this is how these people want to be together, or this is exactly. You
can't be together.
Yeah, you have to figure it out because everyone wants to be there on a wedding, regardless of their own personal history. But you know, some of these things, some of these really classic traditions, like father walking daughter down the aisle, are also going by the wayside as well. I'm not surprised.
In my experience, I had both my mom and dad walk me down the aisle because they have both been huge contributors to my life in different ways. You envision when you're a little girl, right? Like they always say, you know, it's in songs, it's in lyrics. Your daddy walking you down the aisle. So as a young person, when you grow up, that's sort of what you feel like, from my experience, what you have to do. And in my family, Latino community, it's a very big deal when dad gives you away and that whole thing. But it was just very important for me to have both of them. But how was I going to do that so that each parent and myself, right? 'Cause this is about you at the end of the day, you and your groom. How do you have those special moments with each parent so that it is sacred? So dad and I walked halfway down the aisle, but not just, it wasn't a traditional aisle. I walked from like this cottage across a bridge, and then we pivoted, okay? So dad and I started here. We got that chance to go across the bridge together, go through half of the, oh my gosh, I'm sorry about the mic issues. We had a chance to go across the bridge, go through half of the audience, and then we met mom at the pivot area here, and then all three of us pivoted.
I love that.
And we walked down the aisle, and mom and dad, it was very choreographed. Mom and dad both gave me away. But I think this tradition is coming from this strong movement, the reimagined feminist movement, right? Where a lot of women are going, why is it that that tradition exists, right? So asking the question why, and it does date back to a point where the fathers owned the daughter, which is why the giving away to another man comes into play. Then the girl takes the man's last name. It's a whole thing that I think a lot of young people now are questioning and trying to break that mold, because it doesn't make sense in 2018. No daddy owned me. No man's going to own me. I'm going to walk myself down the aisle, which I get and I respect. I just wanted dad and mom by my side. So
be there with you.
Be
to share
there
that
with
moment.
It was breaking the tradition of ownership. They both know they don't. No one owns anyone.
I don't see your hair touching
My
your
hair's
mic.
not
I know.
I'm looking for
We're having mic issues.
That's giving
but
me
we have no
like
idea what's
a
going on.
It's okay. Please be animated, but don't move.
Yeah, but I'm literally trying to self-focus. So that was my experience. But let's get to some of these comments, because I know a lot of people are commenting. Janet Noldner, my oldest and youngest daughter's birth had their oldest brother walk them down the aisle. It was beautiful. Let's see. Rosalinda Calkins, I had my dad walk me down because I had a close relationship with him, and because as a Latina, it is tradition. Exactly. Kimberly Morgan goes on to say, ha ha ha, Jessica, I called my friends the night before and said, we're getting married. Be there or not, LOL. We were going to get married in our apartment. My friend is a wedding photographer, so she told me about the spot. We have a traveling minister. So people are just going on about
Shout
their
out
weddings.
to Janet, who has the same position I had. Her dad passed when she was 13, she says, and it's a very special bond for a father to walk his daughter down the aisle. But since he's gone, she, like myself, or maybe my Uncle Squirt will step in, she, like myself, will have to walk ourselves down the aisle. It's just, I feel like it just really depends on your family dynamic.
Exactly.
Yeah. How about you? What was your
So my
experience?
dad walked me down the aisle, and he does not claim he cried, but he totally cried.
Yeah.
And I only did that because that's just the tradition I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I know that's what is kind of accepted, and that's what it's expected for some people, but that's what I wanted to do because my dad was basically lending my hand to my husband's hand, and he wanted to be that moment. And I'm going to start tearing up now. I'm so emotional.
She doesn't get emotional.
I don't. I do in the afternoon when I'm by myself. It's one of those things where it's like a symbolic like gesture, like you better take care of my girl like I did.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, and that's when it really started to like waterworks come down.
Let's talk to the dad in the room.
Let's talk to Daddy. Yes. How about if
when
one
Lakin
day Lakin gets married and she goes, Dad, I don't want anyone to walk me down the aisle. Would you be heartbroken?
I don't want to think about this right now.
Let me tell you, I go to so many more extra weddings because of our family situation, and I will tell you, every time I'm shooting the daddy-daughter dance, every time.
Got me.
I'm not even shooting photos sometimes. Maybe it's getting covered. I just put the camera up to my eye because I don't want anyone to see me crying. I'm just like, I put it down. I'm like,
there's a moment.
He was cutting onions in here.
My favorite, my moment that I cannot wait to actually see what happens is when the future son-in-law asks you for Lakin's hand in marriage.
Wait, are people still doing that? That's another question.
Oh,
I think
that's
they are.
better. In my family, my culture, you better.
It's definitely a Midwest thing. So that will be the best moment that Rob will have to fill us in on 20 years from now or whatever.
Because you know he's not good enough, but he might be good enough in her eyes.
Yeah.
It's never, they're never good enough for the daddy's eyes, right?
Never good enough. That's so funny.
But what would you do if Lakin said, I want to walk myself down?
I would be utterly crushed.
Are you tearing up right now?
You're going to be like,
No,
the
I'm
wedding
telling
then.
you, somebody's cutting onions in here.
It's your breath.
Yeah, it's my breath.
It's my coffee.
Exactly.
I apologize.
I cut my own onions with my teeth. It's a problem.
I would be utterly crushed.
Yes, I would be crushed because we go on daddy-daughter dates all the time. Sometimes it's because I got to get oil at the hardware store. Okay, that's a daddy-daughter date. But there is a bond between a daughter and a dad. It's if it's there, take advantage of it because it is special.
You mentioned the dances. That was the moment. Like for Dad and I, he's military soldier. Like when we got there, he was like, "Don't mess up your makeup, no crying." So when we got to doing the walk, and like I am such a daddy's girl, so it was a moment where I'd been like almost dreading because it's like that feeling of like stepping into the next chapter in your life.
Oh, wow.
Literally is it's that no one prepares you for the day, for the feelings you're going to feel. You feel happy, but you feel a little sad because it's, now I'm going to get all teary-eyed. But it's the same thing with the dancing with the dad. We put on a Sade song. That was our dance. And it was as if someone literally turned a faucet on. And I was just like hyperventilating, just crying in his arms because the day's over. All the plannings come to fruition.
Right.
Oh, that was Caesar's sister's wedding.
Oh, no, but y'all look good.
But that's just us in the wedding. There's somewhere on my Instagram. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see. Me.
Yeah, they found mine. I was like, oh, there it is. That's fun.
Did it pop up behind us?
Since we're doing comments, Twinkie A, show some teeth, girl. We got Tori, gorgeous, looking perfect. Sound off in the comments.
Perfect. My cousin always being like, why do you not smile with your teeth? Thank you, guys. I wanted to see your picture. Everyone go to Michelle A. Pond's Instagram.
They just pulled it up.
They showed it. It was
scrolling.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Kirsten, I can't wait for you.
Oh, girl, let's pray. And we're going to end on a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus.
Just get her a husband. Here in Sacramento?
Bye, y'all. Y'all have a good day. Oh, look, the 9 o'clock is
Cheers.
starting.
Oh, look, the 9 o'clock news with Miss Kirsten Holmes coming up. Thank you, Rob, for chiming in with Dad's perspective.
Goodness.
Thanks so much for watching the ABC 10 Information Network. If you want to see more stories just like this one, all you've got to do is click subscribe.